Silly butts, we back. Let's get it.
Michael Jordan got 50 dropped on him and the dude wasn't even in the league. Let's get to it though.
What if I were to tell you that there was a player in basketball history who was so good that Boston Celtics legend Red Auerbach, a man who won a combined 16 NBA championships, said that the biggest mistake in his career was letting this player go? What if I said this man was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame as he was known as one of the greatest scorers of his generation due to the fact that he averaged nearly 28 points per game in college at Seton Hall, as well as scoring over 44 points per game overseas? And what if I said, legend has it, that on one historic night, this same man dropped 50 points on Michael Jordan's head? Well, listening to all of this, you'd probably assume that this player was some sort of NBA legend, but no. No, the topic of today's video, Nikos Galis, never stepped foot on an NBA basketball court despite getting drafted by the Celtics and then receiving offers from both the Nets and the Celtics later on in his basketball career. Which means we have to ask the question here: why did this basketball legend never play in the NBA?
And guys, I am very excited to say that this video is brought to you by Squarespace. We'll get more into that later, but for now.
So what's up guys, Mike here, and today we are looking at the career of Nikos Galis.
Nikos Galis
was the definition of a bucket at every single level of basketball he ever played at. Trust me when I say you are going to be in shock at just how much Nikos achieved as a basketball player, and you are definitely going to ask yourself the same question I've asked: what if Nikos Galis played in the NBA? Because it is clear he would have been a game changer. He was just that good. And again guys, the goal in 2021 is 2 million subscribers. So if you are new to this channel, hitting that subscribe button just takes one click of a button from you and it means the world to me. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for all the new subscriptions. You guys are awesome. Please subscribe. And now I want to begin this story at the conclusion of the 1979 draft, where Nikos Galis was just taken by the Boston Celtics with the 68th pick. And yes, the NBA did have more rounds in their draft at the time, but even though he would have been undrafted in today's NBA, the Celtics were very hopeful in Nikos's potential. The reason for this was that at Seton Hall, Nikos had transformed into one of the best players in the nation and was seen as an unstoppable scorer during his senior year. As in that senior season, Nikos scored 27.5 points per game, an incredible amount, as remember, at the time there was no three-point shot. What's even more amazing was that Nikos shot nearly 58% from the field as a guard, and that in 1979 he would finish as the nation's third leading scorer behind Lawrence Butler and Larry Bird. This 1979 season led to Seton Hall head coach Bill Raftery calling Nikos the best player he has ever coached, which is why it should be no surprise that when the Celtics training camp began, many people were very hopeful that Nikos had a long NBA career ahead of him.
Hold on y'all, so he was runner-up behind Larry Bird. He had 27.5 points every game at Seton Hall. So that means he played college ball here in the U.S. I ain't never heard of this guy. But apparently, just because you ain't never heard of somebody or you ain't got your name big enough yet, don't mean you can do some damage. Don't mean you can't do no damage in the NBA on a college level playing basketball. And it's going out to all basketball players, like for real, like you keep working on your game. You never know what the odds may turn up to be. The man was drafted to the Boston Celtics, and I guess Brooklyn, and I forgot the other team. They said they also wanted him as well later on in his career. But I've never heard of this guy, Nikos Galis. Shout out to him though. But let's get back to the video.
Only there was one problem, and it was his ankle. Yes, during training camp of that season, Nikos suffered a severe ankle injury, and because of this, Nikos was cut from the team as the Celtics were worried that this ankle injury might affect his entire career, and they also had another rookie guard in Gerald Henderson who could replace Nikos. This would turn out to be a massive mistake, and as I previously mentioned, Celtics legend Red Auerbach certainly had regrets about this decision. In fact, Red would go as far as to say, quote, "The only big mistake of my career was not signing Galis back then," which are some pretty insane words when you think about it. Red Auerbach was involved with the Boston Celtics either as the team's coach, general manager, or president for over 50 years. To call Nikos his only big mistake must have meant that this really haunted him, and really, just based on the legend that Nikos dropped 50 points on Michael Jordan's head is proof enough to me that this statement is true. Now, we are going to dig deeper into that Michael Michael Jordan game in a bit. For now though, let's listen to Nikos' thoughts on getting cut. As he said, it was my decision too. We sat down and talked. I had generous offers from Greece, coming from a poor family to go overseas. It was a decision I never regretted because I fell in love with the place and people as soon as I got there. I've been there 38 years now. I never left, no regrets. And while
Hey, as humble as that statement was, I love it, man, you know, because I think I was just watching a video with some other analysts, and they was talking about how everybody else around the world wants to come and play in the NBA. This is probably the first time I've heard someone say that they are happy that they went overseas and stayed there for 38 years. Loved it over there. Probably was the star over there. He was leading scoring over there for sure. I'm guessing they play for Greece, so they probably showed him some love, a lot of love, and they didn't want to let him go neither, so they probably paid that man, that moolah. But that's what's up, though, man. I like his humble remarks already, and let's touch on it. That ankle injury. Ooh, them ankle injuries be serious. Like, once you sprain your ankle or break your ankle, it's like it's never the same. Like, I don't know, it does something to your mind. I had some sprained ankles before in the past, and I just feel like after I got my first sprained ankle, my game wasn't really to change because every time I left the ground, I was always worried about coming down on my foot the wrong way. And I'm pretty sure, like, that go on for it. That happened to a lot of people. It affects the mind something serious because you need your feet, you know. And when you're a point guard and you quick and you doing all of that agility and crossing over and ins and outs and all of that and then going up for the legs, like, you never know if you're going to come down to somebody's foot or anything like that. So, man, that's just like, I feel his pain, basically. Like, I really feel Nikos Galis' pain when he said something, when they was talking about that ankle injury, because I completely understand, you know, how that could be on a team's mind, in the Celtics' mind, the GM's mind, and all of that. But the GM even said himself, he regretted even letting the man go. I guess he really turned up over there in Greece, and we about to find out right now. Let's get it.
Nikos might have no regrets. It's not hard to see why the Celtics and Red Auerbach did, because during his professional basketball career, Nikos established himself as the best Greek player to ever play the game of basketball. In fact, before we even get into his achievements, just know that Nikos was the first European player ever to get a $1 million basketball contract. That in itself is insane, but when we look at Nikos' career in Greece, we find that things only get crazy, because at the time of his retirement, Nikos had established himself as the best Greek player to ever play the game of basketball. According to Euroleague.net, in over 12 seasons of Greek basketball, Nikos lost just 6 times and was the league's top scorer 11 times.
And guys, like I mentioned to you before, this video is brought to you by Squarespace. When it comes to websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform for you to have a beautiful web presence and to run your business. Using Squarespace, you are able to create a community on your Squarespace website that supports threaded comments, replies, and likes. You are also able to use their powerful blogging tools to categorize, share, and schedule your posts too. Using Squarespace, you can connect with your audience through gated members-only content that is also going to help you generate revenue. You can also manage your members, send email communications, and leverage your insights all on one easy-to-use platform. And so guys, go check out squarespace.com for a free trial, and then when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/MikeWarzema.
This video 2 years old, man. I'm pretty sure it's not the same.
Squarespace.com/MikeWarzema. The link will be in the description.
But
now,
it does sound like it could be very useful though.
And when I say top scorer, I mean that Nikos averaged nearly 40 points per game throughout his prime as a basketball player, and in 1981, he put up a staggering 44 points per game for the season. On top of this, Nikos also led the EuroLeague in scoring 8 times, and in those games against much tougher competition, Nikos still averaged close to 35 points per game for his EuroLeague career, with a high of 37.7 points per game in 1988. Again, the man was a walking bucket, and here's why. Now, to me, one of the most interesting things to look for when we watch Nikos' game is that on the offensive end, despite standing at just 6 feet tall and despite not having any sort of a great vertical leap, Nikos was able to become a lethal scorer through one of the most unique ways I have ever seen. We of course know about legendary moves like Kareem Skyhook and—
Hold on, man. Shout out to Kareem Skyhook. But this man was only 6 foot tall. The man averaged 44 points the whole season and was 6 foot tall. I don't know what to say. Man, y'all drop some in the comments and let me know what y'all think about that. But I don't even think nobody even done that yet in the league right now. Like, average 44 points for the whole league. I don't think nobody did that yet. And this guy was 6 foot tall. Now, I would say this. The competition over there was probably major difference. But he was 6 foot tall doing it. And you know, we get a lot of tall giants from overseas. And the man was literally shout out to my guy, Mike Korzimba, the creator of this video. Shout out to him. But like he just said, Nikola was definitely a walking bucket. And I can't wait to hear what they say about him dropping them points on Michael Jordan. Because I don't know how Michael Jordan took that. Like, 6 foot tall? Michael Jordan, you got 6 inches on him. 6 inches on him. Probably 7 or 8 with the shoes on. Man, that's crazy. Shout out to Michael Jordan, too. Always going to be the GOAT. But that's crazy, though. For real. Man, I know y'all know that's crazy.
Dirk's fadeaway, and when it comes to Nikos, we can see that he definitely had a signature move of his own, because when watching these clips, we can see that using his incredible core strength, Nikos was constantly able to knock down jumpers that were completely guarded. The way he was able to do this was simple in theory, but almost impossible in practice to pull off, because while most basketball players basically have to shoot at the highest point of their jump shot, Nikos mastered the art of delaying his release until the defender that was contesting him was on the way down. This gave Nikos a near unstoppable jump shot, as even if you played near perfect defense, you would just watch as Nikos waited for you to fall to the ground, as he then proceeded to drain a jumper in your face. That's what defenders had to deal with on a nightly basis. That is what made Nikos such a legend. And as previously mentioned, Nikos was not only a scorer, but he was a winner too. Throughout his career, Nikos won several Greek League championships and Greek League cups, but the most impressive win of his career would come in the 1987 FIBA European Championship game, as throughout this tournament, Nikos was simply unstoppable and did the near impossible, carrying Greece to a championship win while averaging 37 points per game in the tournament. And to top things off here, Nikos would put up 40 points in the championship game as Greece won by just 2. This gave Greece just one of their 2 European championships in their country's entire history, and it's facts like that that make it easy to see why Nikos was seen as such a legend. But with all this in mind, before we do get into the Jordan game, you might be wondering, why did Nikos never come back to the NBA after playing some time overseas? And the answer to that does not come in the form of interest, because like I said before, Nikos was offered contracts by both the Celtics and the Nets later on in his career. The problem was, accepting those contracts would come with a huge price. FIBA rules at the time stated that NBA players were not allowed to play at the national team level, which meant if Nikos did accept an NBA contract, he could not play for Greece. And to me, it says a ton about Nikos and his national pride that he turned down the chance to play in the NBA because he loved representing his country that much. With that said, let's now talk about what we've been waiting for, Nikos's matchup with Michael Jordan himself. Now, to be clear, this matchup did occur when Jordan was in college and Nikos was playing with the Greece national team, but we have to remember 2 things. 1, the talent gap between the rest of the world and the United States was so big at this point that the Tar Heels would actually beat the Greece national team, and 2, Michael Jordan was already 20 years old and had already begun to show some serious flashes of the generational talent he would become. With that in mind, it's no surprise that in this game, Jordan would score 34 points in his team's win. What is potentially shocking is that the legend goes, for his part, Nikos scored 50 points on Michael Jordan. 50 points. Now, to be completely transparent with you guys, this game is actually a source of incredible debate, because while a lot of people do claim that Nikos did score 50 points here, others state that the number was closer to 24, which is an absurd difference. And unfortunately, because this was an exhibition game played in 1983, almost 30 30 years ago, there is no stat sheet, so we really can't tell for sure. Regardless of anything though, what I do know is that after this game, Michael Jordan gave Nikos the ultimate seal of approval. Because when asked about Nikos, a more than impressed Mike would say, quote, "He is a complete player. I didn't expect to see such a scorer from Europe, especially from your country." Yes,
wow.
Michael Jordan was in complete shock that Nikos was not playing in the NBA and instead was playing in Greece, something that I can say a lot of people were in shock of at the time. Because by the end of his basketball career, it was clear Nikos Galis was one of the best players to never play in the NBA, and that was certainly confirmed when he was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame, which is awesome.
Hold on, let's rewind that real quick. That was nasty. That was a nasty pass. I thought he was going up for the lay with some jelly on it, and then he ended up doing some passing jelly. Let's look at that again though.
Shocked that Nikos was not playing in the NBA and instead was playing in Greece, something that I can say a lot of people were in shock of at the time. Because by the end of his basketball career, it was clear Nikos Galis was one of the best players to never play in the NBA, and that was certainly confirmed when he was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame, which is awesome for Nikos. Again, he says he has no regrets, but I really wish we could have seen this guy play NBA basketball. I would have loved to see how his game translated to the NBA level. With that said though, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you are new to this channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Again, the goal is 2 million subscribers in 2021. All it takes is a single click from you to subscribe, and it will be much appreciated by me. And I do want to say you guys have been so supportive lately. Thank you for that. It really does mean a lot. Also, as you guys know, if you're already subscribed, thank you so much for supporting. You're awesome. We all know it. And as always, have an awesome day, guys, and cue that music. If you're still here,
that was literally the most interesting video I've probably done so far. The guy was from Greece. He averaged 44 points for a whole season, which is why I do believe he actually did score that 50 points. But since Michael Jordan was in the topic of the conversation, people probably played it down. Because, I mean, come on, it's Michael Jordan. You don't want to hear about some 6 foot small guy coming out of Greece that's putting up big buckets like that on Jordan. Even though Jordan did have 34 points, you know what I mean? And he was in college. But like the guy said, the level of competition for the people that's over there overseas in the NBA, probably not so much now, but back then was probably drastically different. But the guy played basketball in the U.S. for Seton Hall. So I can believe that he had that talent and that skill because he probably had came up with people around him in his environment that was just as good as him. Another thing is that he was 6 foot tall. He dropped the 44 points for a whole season. He was offered $1 million deal in Greece, the only person to ever get that. He led his team to multiple championships. And last but not least, before I let y'all go here, because I know I've been here for a little while, I think that's where Russell Westbrook kind of got that jump shot from. Because I kind of reminded me, when I was watching him, he was talking about how he go up and only he wait for his defender to come down. And I'm pretty sure by the time that he's coming down too, he's putting some more extra arc on the ball. He perfected that and mastered that craft. It kind of reminded me of how Russell Westbrook kind of had shot the ball back in the day. I mean, I haven't really been following the NBA lately, so I haven't really been seeing my boy Westbrook shoot the ball that much. Shout out to Russell Westbrook. Always going to be a GOAT to me. Loved him back when he played for OKC with that major team that they had with KD and James Harden. And I can't even think of the rest right now. But it's not even about them right now. It's about my boy right here, Nikos. Or am I pronouncing it right? Nikos. Man, shout out to you, man. Definitely a legend from over there. You made it to the Hall of Fame. People ain't heard about you. Hopefully this video gets you some more recognition. And it's your boy, DtaeNoDinero. We out. Peace. Let's get it. See you, bud.